So let's look at a particular category of types of bits of data that there are, these things that are called nulls. Now, if you think about nulls, they can actually represent lots of different things. They could represent something that will never have a value, in other words, ever have a value. It could be something which is currently null right now, but might have a value in the future. You know, there could be somebody earning commission at some point, something like that. Or it could be something which had a value and is now null. And that's the problem with null, is there's a lot of intrinsic meaning to it. It depends on how it's used actually in the system. Now, one thing to note is that null has a special value in SQL. It's a reserved word, and it does have a special meaning, and one of the most common things that people mistake it for is to think it actually has the value of 0. And I think we can demonstrate that quite nicely as have a look in the emp table where we have the com attribute. So this is commission that people earn, and you can see that we've got some values for commission: 300, 500, 1,400. And we've got a blank cell here indicating a null in access. So if we look at this table, for example, you can see that Turner has a 0 here, and that's kind of suggestive that Turner is allowed to earn commission. It's just that Turner hasn't actually earned any commission yet, whereas the other cells, which are blank, basically are saying those people are not allowed to earn commission. So you can see all those blanks in there. Now, the reason that I'm talking about this today is that problems come about when you try and do operations over null. So mathematical operations, for example. So let's imagine that you wanted to work out what the total salary costs were for all our staff. So salary, of course, plus commission is how we work out the sort of salary costs. So we want to show the sort of total earnings. So let's construct our SQL. So we're going to use the emp table, and then on the top line what we're going to do is we want to see the people and how much they earn. And you think, okay, nice and straightforward, let's do something like sal plus commission. So we're just going to add whatever their salary is to the commission that they've earned so far, and we'll display that, and then we'll know what our sort of total salary bill is for each of the people in a nice table. Now here, we're not going to use the where clause at all. Let's just keep it nice and straightforward. So let's just see all the people with their salary and commission and add those up. Now if you run that in Access, what happens is you get this. Now have a look at that fourth column, and you'll see it's not quite correct. We want that fourth column to have all the values added up. So it should be salary plus commission for each of the rows that we have. But you can clearly see that has only worked when there is a value for both salary and commission. And the problem with that comes about because of this. Any value plus null returns null. So if you look at March, for example, 18,000 plus null gives you null. Burn, who does have salary and commission, actually does have a correct value, but then if you scan down, all the places like Cox, Pollard, Reese, all those places where there is no commission value, this doesn't work. We can't add a value to null because it simply returns null. 18,000 plus null returns null in the gap. So the way to overcome that is to use a function. And of course, this is only really going to apply when you have columns with null values. More often than not, we don't have to worry about this, but it is where there are going to be columns with null values. So it does occur frequently. And the way that we're going to do that is to use this nz function. And what nz does is it will return two possible values. Either it will return a 0 or it will return a value. So what it's effectively doing is it's turning a null into a 0 for us. So here are some examples. If nz is applied to null, it would return 0. Nz apply to 14 will return 14. NZ replied to the commission column, well, that will return the commission column, but with zeros in there. Now, of course, what that means is that we can now add salary to commission if we apply that function over the commission column. So here we go. That's what we've got so far. So what we do is we slightly change the final part of the select statement. So have a look at the end. What we're going to do is we're going to change the com column. We're going to run that function nz over the com column. And as you can see, what it does is it will convert every null into a 0 or every value into the corresponding value. So for March, for example, we get 18,000 plus 0. We do finally get our 18,000. Burn is 26,000 plus 300. That gives us the 26,000. 26,000 plus the 300 gives you 26,300. And so it's a nice way of converting, dealing with those columns where there may be a null value.